What's up, everybody? Good morning. How you doing? It's Tuesday, sorry, it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday, right? Something like that. It's Woke Wednesday. Yeah, I knew it was Woke Wednesday. I put it in the stream originally, but I had to change the name of the stream because freedom. You got to give for what you take. Yes, Texas and Mississippi are freeing up some peoples, and we'll talk about that after the intro. Play the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, PDawg Knight. And stop the music. You got to give for what you take. Is that what the line is? I don't know. I think that was George Michael's best song of all. I won't let you down, so please don't give me up. I have some faith in the sound. It's the one good thing that I've got. I won't let you down, please don't give me up. 'Cause I would really, really love to stick around. But I can stick around because it's my show. Anyway, welcome to the Morning Night Live, everybody. I'm your host, Marty, also known as PDawgKnight on the internet. And welcome back to the Dawg Knight Channel. It is Wednesday. Woke Wednesday, hump day, the 3rd of March, 2021. And you know what? I saw some meltdowns on the internet yesterday because the great state of Texas has decided to open things up and get rid of the mask and just say, you know what? It's time to stop messing around. Let's just be what we are. And that'd be the Lone Star Texas state of Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas. Everything's better in Texas. Shoot, I might even think about moving to Texas someday because it's just, they're figuring it out. I think they saw that, Florida has been doing okay for a while. And, they just said, you know what? F it. We got to open up. We got to get people back to work. And that's the best plan. You don't need $15 an hour. You just need a job that you can work. And so good on Governor Abbott and the Texas State Legislature for at least, I guess the governor is the one who's lifted their whatever restrictions. But, as long as they're making sure, and look, the problem people were having is that so many people were just bitching because, oh no, you got to have masks. Dr. Fauci, double mask. Well, if you want a double mask, feel free. It doesn't prohibit you from wearing a mask. If you want to mask up, MRFer. I'm trying not to swear early in the stream. I keep getting those yellow things, you have the green $sign on your monetized videos, and then they kind of limit it, and then you got to go appeal it. And so for the last probably 3 to 4 weeks, every single one of my streams get the little yellow. They switch it to yellow, and I'm like, I appeal it, and they always switch it back to green, except for one of them. And that was a Saturday stream where I know I was swearing a lot, but they never. I don't know. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. Anyway, let's say good morning to everybody before I get into my my articles today. Good morning. Oh, by the way, thank you, HP Lovecraft, our first sponsor of the show today, through SuperChats on YouTube, who says, it's happening. The lockdown dam is breaking. I'm telling you. Woo-hoo. I should add a horn for that. It's a party, baby. It's a party. I'm sure everyone's excited. Yes, it's happening. So thank you, HP Lovecraft. I appreciate you sponsoring the show. If you'd like to sponsor the show, you can do that through YouTube Super Chats, or the preferred method is Streamlabs, which is in the description down below. It's also in the should be in the chat there every once in a while. If you want to, be a sponsor, you can do that. And then also, while we're here, if you're thinking about it and you like what happens on the show, sometime this show, you're going to want to hit that like button just to say, you like me. You really like me. And plus, I don't know if it helps the algorithm. I don't think I get much traffic from any of the YouTube stuff. I'm still pretty small, and I don't think I got a feeling they already have I think they already know what I'm about, and channels like mine don't usually get a lot of promotion, but you guys help a lot. Every time you share the stream, every once in a while we get a new person here, and we just grow gradually and organically, which is fine with me. I'm happy with y'all who have come here a lot, and it's always fun to see a new face in the chat. But it's just it's going just the way I want it to do. One thing about this, having it happen this way, is I get more loyal people like y'all, so that's cool. Anyway, again, thank you HP Lovecraft for sponsoring the show. All right, let's say good morning to everybody, though. First in the chat today was Jesse Leon, who gets the bell. Thank you for being here and being Johnny on the spot. Also, good morning, Black Hebrew Israelite.
That's right.
Who says, hey, look, it's Mark Dice's Muppet. Yeah, I changed the thumbnail on the show today because I didn't really have a topic when I put this together last night, and I just thought that was a funny a funny picture with the what's his face, Brian Stelter, and with side by side with Mr. Potato Head. Although the problem I had when I saw that image is I couldn't tell which was which. Because they look so much alike. I should look that up because if you didn't see the thumbnail earlier, let's go here. Let me do this real quick. Let's see, Brian Stelter and Potato. Let's see. Let me if I can find that image. Well, that one's backwards. Where's the one I had originally? Okay, well, here we go. Here's a similar one, and see, can you tell now look, I gotta ask, can you tell these apart? Can you tell the difference? Here, let's go full screen here. Can you really tell the difference? I'm not really sure which one's Brian and which one's Mr. Potato Head. I'm just saying. The ears are about the same color, and you got the same shape, although one looks like the potato part's upside down. I don't know. Can you tell the difference? I just don't know. Oh my God, I'm so wrong. Anyway, all right, let's should I leave that in the tabs for y'all? Cause you want to have that in the tabs. I'm gonna leave it in the tabs for the news tabs. You're gonna be stuck with Mr. Potato Head on DuckDuckGo. All right. Also, good morning, Keenan. How you doing? Good morning, GunFox61. Our trusty dusty keeper of the Discord, who says, howdy y'all, I'm already check your Discord DM. I will check my DM. I'll do that. Also, Dems forced through House Bill HR 1. Yeah, is that is HR 1 the COVID bill? Yeah, it's pretty gross. It moves the Senate where Dems may use the nuclear option to force through HR 1 the mail-in ballot. Oh, this is the mail-in ballot bill. What? 16 and 17-year-olds? Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna have to check that. We will check that. Actually, we might do a whole show on it tomorrow on FTG Day. Anyway, all right. Thank you, God561. Also, good morning, Sean DW. What's up? And then Austin San. Good morning, Aaron Meredith. Good morning, Bastard Beast. Select the boys in the house.
Yeah, boy.
Also, good morning, Thomas Cleaver. How you doing? Good morning to let's see, who else am I missing here? Oh, you guys had quite the little conversation here. Good morning, Tyler F. And by the way, Kyle, I didn't even see that. Kyle, good morning. I see you did a donation today, so thank you for sponsoring the show. And this is Kyle through Streamlabs. And by the way, this is Kyle.
You are the new Streamlabs Superstar Donor of the Day.
At least momentarily. Thank you. And Kyle says, hello, chat people and P-Dawg. Well, hello to you too, Kyle. Great to have you here, as often you are. And then also, but then again, we have another sponsor. Thank you, Thundercloud Auto Service.
You are the new Streamlabs Superstar Donor
Who
of
says,
the Day.
Thundercloud Auto Service with the 223, one of the great calibers out there. It says Thundercloud Auto Service, where we put the goddamn back in your engine and transmission. Well, there you go. Thank you very much, and a little bell for you there. So thank you, Thundercloud Auto Service. Appreciate the sponsorship of the show. So, and again, you can sponsor the show through Super Chats and or Streamlabs. I'm fine with either. Prefer Streamlabs. But anyway, so all right, so let's who else is here? Let's see. Who have I missed? Good morning, Justin Anderson. Good morning, Keen. Oh, I said Keen already. Good morning, Avocados Diablo, the Devil's Advocate. Good morning, Jaded Emerald. Good morning, Cultist 4. Uncle Bad Touch is in the house.
Come on, man.
And we all know who you really are. Good morning also to Peter Almond, Sapphire Dragon, Atheist Icon, Jonathan Peterson, not to be confused with Jonas Pedersen. Also, good morning, Molly Maggs. Nice to have you back. Good morning, Renee Mayette. Good morning, our official K-pop aficionado is in the house. Patrice Ripley, good morning. Also, let's see, who else I got here? Ebony Williams, nice to have you back, Ebony. Nice to see you. Good morning, St. Fugi. Also, good morning to Your Ridiculous Lunatic, a.k.a. Lunatics in the house. Good morning also to... let's see, I got Sandra. Am I missing? Oh, Cynical Lindsay, there you are. Lauren Stanhope, hello. And the chat jumped. Okay, and am I getting everybody? Zablaze in the house. Good morning, my friend. Zombie Teddy. Sapphire Dragon, I said already. TC Ball, good morning. James PFP, welcome again. And I think I'm at the bottom of the thing here. So, and also good morning, Spectacular Wanderer. All right, so there we go. All right, let's talk about Texas. Oh, by the way, thank you, RVA Dar, Truck and Bear, Cynical Lindsay, all for sharing out the stream. Again, share the stream. You can do it through that little arrow down there. Oh, Anna Lynn, good morning to you too. Spidey Man, I see you too. How do you do? Right down there, the arrow, the share arrow, hit the share arrow, send it out in your favorite social media, or you can put it on Twitter, Minds, Gab, Parler, or Cloud Hub. Or if you follow me on any of those platforms, you can just redo what I do. Let's see. Changing the voting age is doomed to fail. Needs to be an amendment to the Constitution, not just a bill passed by Congress. That is true. That is true. So they can't. They'll figure that out soon. Anyway. All right. I do want to look at that. I got to take a look at that, but that sounds like something I need to get into a little more deeply. But thank you, Gunfox, for putting it out there, and I'll make sure that we check that out sometime today, if not in this show. Or I may do, who knows, I may do a special stream after I read that, because I'm not excited about that ideas that in that bill. And also I want to talk about the minimum wage, and I don't know if I'm going to get to it today. But I want to make the case for abolishing the minimum wage. And if you have any thoughts on that, in fact, if you have any thoughts on abolishing the minimum wage, I'll remind you at the end of the show, put them in the comment section of this stream sometime after the fact today, because I don't even think you need one. I've been watching people tweet about this, politicians especially, in particular, everyone's favorite Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and talking about how McDonald's pays $70.25 an hour in the United States. It pays $22 an hour in Netherlands or something like that. Which, of course, I've seen that stupid stat a couple times, and it's a stupid stat. One, because the Netherlands has no minimum wage. And a lot of their McDonald's are unionized, and that's the reason they're paying $22 an hour, not because of any minimum wage. And also, I see a lot of people talking about, well, people who work at McDonald's in America only make $7.25 an hour. Hey, I got a stat for you on that front. It's called bullshit. No, they don't. Show me a McDonald's in the United States that only pays $7.25 an hour. And I'll show you McDonald's in a really small town where the cost of living is really low. Because I looked it up, and now Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is from New York City. New York City? Get a rope. Anyway, she's from New York City. And I looked it up. And did you know what the average wage at a McDonald's for a cashier in New York City is? $18.25 an hour. And she keeps coming up with this stat. Oh, in Netherlands they get $22 an hour. They get health insurance. Blah 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 blah. $18.25 an hour. And then I got to tell you, when I was in San Francisco last year, we were down on Fisherman's Wharf, and there was an In-N-Out burger in Fisherman's Wharf. They had a big old sign in their window. Fast food joint, right? Fast food joint, In-N-Out burger. And where's my printer printing? Oh, my wife must be printing something. Anyway, they were starting people at $19 an hour to work at In-N-Out Burger and Fisherman's Wharf, because they look. And in fact, I was thinking about that the other day. I keep telling you this. When I look over at the fast food row over here in my little suburb of the Twin Cities, all of those places are starting at $12.50, $13 an hour, because it's hard to get people to work there. And the only people, and so the idea that the person at McDonald's makes $7.25 an hour, sure, somewhere in the country, there's probably a McDonald's that pays $7.25 an hour. But I bet they don't. I bet they have a hard time getting people to work there, because there's so many other unskilled jobs that you can make more. So I am just saying, why do we have a federal minimum wage when the cost of living is so different in so many different parts of the country? It just doesn't make sense. And they're pushing this fight for 15. They're pushing to go for the $15 minimum wage. Well, and their argument is that, well, you can't support a family of 4 on minimum wage in the United States of America. Well, who the hell is trying to support a family of 4 on a minimum wage? Most minimum wage jobs are entry-level jobs that kids are working, fast food restaurants, or maybe it's their first job or whatever. I'm sure there's some places in the country that have, jobs where you're, like janitor jobs where you're making $10 an hour. But in any case, it's usually based on what the labor force and labor needs are for the area. And I don't think there's a ton of people trying to support a family of 3 on the minimum wage. And that's all there is to it. And because this whole minimum wage thing, they're talking, so the Congressional Budget Office, they score all these ideas for different bills and things. And the Congressional Budget Office says, well, if you raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour, it will take 900,000 people out of poverty. Oh, that sounds pretty good, right? Get 900,000 people out of poverty. Oh, but it will also cause you to lose 1.3 million jobs. Oh, wait, what? So it will raise 900,000 people out of poverty, but it will take away 1.3 million jobs. Now, remember, this is the Congressional Budget Office. This is the same Congressional Budget Office that scored what the costs of Obamacare would be. Remember that? And they were really working to make sure that it scored under $1 billion for the cost of Obamacare, blah, 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 blah. And then it ended up costing 3 times what the Congressional Budget Office predicted. And I would say that if the Congressional Budget Office says that it will lift 900,000 people out of poverty, but it will lose 1.3 million jobs, here's what will really happen. We'll lose 3 times that. We'll lose about 3 to 4 million jobs, and it won't lift even half that many people out of poverty. Because guess what? You're putting 3 million people out of jobs, which puts them into poverty. So they just need to back off. In different places in the country, it costs you different, there's different costs of living. There's different scale. Now, and look, here's the thing. I am against a federal minimum wage. I'm not a fan of any minimum wage. I don't think there should be minimum wage. However, if a state wants to have a higher minimum wage, hey, go for it. Oregon has a higher minimum wage. California has a higher minimum wage. We have a higher minimum wage in Minnesota. It's like $9.25 here, I think. It varies state to state. And that's fine. if your state wants to have a minimum wage, go for it. But to have a federal minimum wage, I don't think it's necessary, and it doesn't account for the realities of the different costs of living around the country. Okay, I just think if you force the McDonald's in Scottsbluff, Nebraska, little town out in western Nebraska, you force them to pay $15 an hour, they just may have to go all automated. And I bet you know what? I bet some of those McDonald's in the Netherlands, I bet they're already automated touchpads ordering and stuff because they pay $22 an hour to work at a friggin' McDonald's. Of course, it costs more for a burger there, not a lot more, but enough there. And the cost of living in the Netherlands is way, way higher than it is in the United States, particularly if you travel by vehicle or you rent and everything else. The cost of living in the Netherlands is ridiculous compared to here. But if you live in some podunk town, if you live in Hibbing, Minnesota, and you're forcing some small mom and pop business to pay $15 an hour for a job that maybe someone's just answering their phones, would they be willing to, would they want to maybe eliminate those positions because of it? Now in New York City, if they want to have a $15 minimum wage, well, knock yourself out. Most fast food restaurants are paying more than $15 an hour already. There aren't many jobs in New York City where you get a less than a $15 an hour job. It's the unions that want a $15 minimum wage. Well, I know they do. But no, because they get 3 times minimum as their minimum. Well, not necessarily. I'm in a union, and I know they're pushing for it here. It's but they would think that if they're going to change minimum wage, yes, you're going to change the wages for all union jobs. I'm assuming that's somewhat. I'm not saying it's untrue. I'm just saying it's not true in every case. But I'm pretty sure that if they raised the minimum wage to 15, that we would probably get a raise too. Everyone would get a raise, and then everything's going to cost more, and you're still in nowhere. You've gained nothing. You've improved no one's lives except for a small few, and you've probably cost a lot of low-income people their jobs. I think it's detrimental to low-income people. So is that 22 in U.S. dollars? Yeah, I think they were doing it in U.S. dollars. I'm not 100% sure. But if you live in New Ringgold, Pennsylvania, $15 an hour would put all of those small businesses out of businesses. Yeah, I'm saying, especially in small towns, go to, I don't know, East Podunk, Missouri, or some little town in Arkansas, or and look, the thing too is, so all these politicians in Washington are also, the ones who push the $15 out the most are the ones who live in the big cities in the West, the Detroit or New York City or whatever, who's saying, oh, you can't live on $15 an hour. Well, maybe not in that, or even in Washington. They spend all their time in Washington thinking about how can someone survive on minimum wage in Washington, D.C. Well, I'm not sure if anyone works for minimum wage in Washington, D.C. Unless it's a kid in a first-time job, mopping floors in the back house kitchen. I mean, no one's, you don't live off a minimum wage job. Okay. If you do, that's because of a life choice you made. Because I'll tell you what, there are lots of companies out there that start you at a higher rate. Amazon, and they think this is going to hurt Amazon across the country starts their people at $15 an hour. UPS is about that too. A lot of the shipping companies where you actually do some heavy work, but it's not skilled. You don't have to it's not exactly brain work, but they're paying $15 an hour. So if you're at a $7.25 an hour job and you want to make more money, well, go someplace where you have to work a little harder instead of standing at the cash register plunking on a touchscreen. Okay. So but again, based on where you live, $15 an hour might be the difference between having a business on that corner and not having a business on that corner and having to go down to the Walmart. Just saying. All right, real quick, let's say good morning to a couple people who came in a little later. Good morning, Jaden. Whoops. What the hell did I do there? Okay, hang on. That was a mistake. Good morning, Jaden Emerald, TC Ball, Cairo Alexander, Duck Dog, MC's in the house.
Hammer time.
And good morning, Infamous One. Nice to see you in the show. All right, let's get into what I was really originally going to start talking about here, which that wasn't it. But you know what? I want to, again, if you want to put your thoughts, that's what's in the comment section the day after the show. I'd like to hear your thoughts on the minimum wage. Should we have a minimum wage? Should it be higher? Should it be lower? Give me your thoughts in the comment section after the show on minimum wage. Also, good morning, Snoopy. How you doing? Also, good morning, Why Are You So Angry? Green Badger Outdoors. And there you go. And raising the minimum doesn't mean you'll get the hours. Yeah, they'll cut your hours. You know, it's just, look, if I had a small business and I had to suddenly raise, even if I'm not even, let's say I'm not even paying, I'm paying more than minimum wage already. Let's say I'm paying $12 an hour. All right. And I have a small business and I already paid, my lowest paid employees are paid $12 an hour. And all of a sudden I have to give all of them a $3 an hour raise. And maybe some other people just to, you know, if there's people at 15 already, do I have to give them a raise too? You know, so now I'm like, well, I'm going to cut your hours or maybe cut one person and maybe it gives other people more responsibility or just do more stuff myself. You know, it's just, it's not a good idea. Anyway, good morning, Becca Fairley. How you doing? Got to lurk while working? Well, happy lurking. Good morning, Johnny Hellcat too. All right, let's get into what I really wanted to talk about today. The great state of Texas. Woo! Because Texas is about to have some party time. Yes, Governor Greg Abbott is saying it's time to open Texas 100% amid the coronavirus pandemic. Now, I got two articles that are probably going to be decidedly in a different tone on this. Where's that Newsweek story? I had a Newsweek one. I just cracked up when I saw the beginning of it. Anyway, here's the Daily Caller article. Texas Republican Governor Greg Abbott said it's time to fully reopen Texas amid the coronavirus pandemic during a press conference Tuesday in Lubbock. Too many Texans have been sidelined from employment opportunities, Abbott said during the press conference, as noted by the Dallas Morning News. Too many small business owners have struggled to pay their bills. This must end. Now it's time to open Texas 100. So they're lifting their mask mandate, making the largest state to end an order intended to prevent the spread. Now, this is the AP. Here's the AP, how they do it. Hello, Justin Anderson. Listen to their wording because it always cracks me up. Maybe we'll even read the AP article. Breaking, Texas is lifting its mask mandate, making it the largest state to end an order intended to prevent the spread of coronavirus. Greg Abbott has faced sharp criticism from his party over the mandate imposed 8 months ago. Yes, that's the scrutiny gopher there. Anyway, Abbott also told reporters that he was ending a statewide mask mandate. Businesses will still be allowed to implement any restriction needed. The Dallas Morning News reported. So they're not going to. If a business wants you to wear a mask, they'll let you wear them. They'll have you wear the mask. All right. Marty, people are censoring in your chat when the subject is clear and not controversial. Just think you should know. What do you mean who's people? Are we getting edited? That may be YouTube's automated editing, Cairo. I'm not sure. Although we did have a little dust up the other day, but I think we fixed that. We went through that. Anyway, let me know if it's something in particular, Cairo, just out of curiosity. Also, good morning, Uncle Stepdad. Nice to have you here. So businesses in Texas will be allowed to, if they want you to wear a mask in their business, they're allowed to do that. But I'm not. I got a feeling that not too many businesses are going to do that. Abbott first imposed his mask mandate in July, months after the cities in Texas had already implemented mask mandates. Abbott was criticized for the decision, while implementation of the mandate was made harder by law enforcement who wouldn't enforce it. Some Texas leaders have pushed back on the repeal of the mask mandate. Texas will experience more cases, more hospitalizations, and more deaths, State Representative Richard Pena Raymond, a Democrat from the border city of Laredo, told Abbott, according to the Associated Press. Well, they might also have some people coming into the state by certain means that also it might bring more to the state. But you know what? I'm not going to argue with them. All right, now I just out of curiosity, let's see how the AP, the Associated Press, reports this story and see if there's any difference in how the Daily Caller reports it. Texas becomes the biggest U.S. state to lift COVID-19 mask mandate. Okay, just factual so far. All right. I'm not okay. Any. Yeah, ask me about. I want to see what's happening in the chat. By the way, okay, here it is. Texas is lifting its mask mandate. Governor Greg Abbott said Tuesday, making it the largest state to no longer require. Okay, we already got that same line. With the announcement, in Texas, where the virus has killed more than 43,000 people, rattled doctors and big city leaders who said they are now bracing for another deadly resurgence. One hospital executive in Houston said he told his staff they would need more personnel and ventilators. Federal health officials this week urgently warned states not to let their guard down, warning that the pandemic is far from over. Abbott, a Republican, has faced sustained criticism from his party in America's biggest red state over the statewide mask mandate, which was imposed 8 months ago, as well as business occupancy limits that Texas will also scuttle next week. The mask order was only ever lightly enforced, even during the worst outbreaks of the pandemic. Okay, let's break that down a minute. Good morning, Seneca Lindsay and Jen T. Let's break that down. Well, if the mask order was only ever lightly enforced, and Texas, I believe, is one of the not least hard hit states, but as far as deaths per capita, we can look that up. In fact, how about we look that up? Where's my worldometer here? Give me my worldometer. Worldometer coronavirus. Here we go. Dusty coronavirus worldometer. Come on, baby. Come on. I need the stats. Give me the stats, baby. Give me the stats. All right, there's the USA, which is still deaths per million, still not only 10th. Of course, there's two little city states that are higher per capita, but let's go to just the USA here and look at Texas. Texas. All right, so number of cases, they're number 2. Cases per million population, however, Texas is 24th in the country. And deaths per million population, where are they in deaths per million? Well, they're not in the top 20. They are 24th also in deaths per million. So even though the mask mandates in Texas have been lightly enforced, they're below average as far as deaths per million. They're below average as far as cases per million. So, and then Florida is even lower, and Florida has been much more lax. In fact, they've been open up pretty much 100% for the last few months. In fact, when my wife went down to Florida with her friend, they were taking care of some business of her friend's dad's old condo and whatever. They felt like they were in an alien world because they were down there with masks and no one down there was wearing masks and the businesses were all full and the restaurants were all full. So and Florida is also below average of the United States as far as the deaths per million, cases per million. So I'm wondering, this doomsday scenario they're talking about in Texas. Well, I'm saying maybe, just maybe, they're all right. And Texas is the second largest state. Texas is right in the middle. Yeah, they're ranked 24th in both cases per million and deaths per million. Without heavy duty enforcement of masks. So, removing statewide mandates does not end personal responsibility, said Abbott, speaking from the crowded dining room of a restaurant in Lubbock, surrounded by several people not wearing masks. Oh, isn't that nice? They make sure they tell you that part. It's just that now state mandates are no longer needed, he said. The repeal takes effect March 10th. The full impact of Texas' reversal was still coming into focus. Target, one of the nation's biggest retailers, said it would continue requiring customers to wear masks in Texas. Mark Cuban, owner of the NBA Dallas Mavericks, said he had no immediate plans to change the limits on fans at the American Airlines Center, where the biggest crowd so far this season was about 3,000 spectators. Restaurant owners began confronting whether they too would relax COVID-19 safeguards in their dining rooms that were already allowed to be almost fully open. Again, they were already almost fully open. So this is going to be a big change. There's going to be a big change in the number of cases. Also, the fact that the cases are down countrywide. And remember, last year as we started getting into the fall season and the summer months in the southern states, remember how the cases were dropping? And then for the entire country, as we got into the spring and summer months, the cases dropped nationwide. Remember we talked, a year ago, we were saying this. There were studies. They're trying to figure out how seasons and temperatures affect the spread of the coronavirus. And we got into about April or May. There's a study at the University of Maryland that's got buried that was talking about how in these certain climate zones, which were all throughout the United States and the Northern Hemisphere, is where you saw the worst number of cases of coronavirus cases. We're all in the same temperate zone, the same latitude zones, right? And then and as we got into the summer, the corresponding latitudes in the southern hemisphere also started to get more cases. And I can't believe that no one has ever talked about that study. I saw that study. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. It's kind of like flu season where, you get a lot of flu season in certain latitudes, you're in the more northern cities where the seasons change more, and you get few cases in the southern states. Well, it's funny how it kind of same thing with this coronavirus thing. And I can't believe that no one's made a big deal about this. Almost sounding like a seasonal cold. Well, sort of. Hello, Amy. How you doing? Hello, Drayden. It's nice to see you guys. It's sort of. And so, remember, especially because the big deal about how the cases dropped during the summer. Well, shocker. That's kind of how the SARS worked in Asia in 2004, was it? The cases started dwindling down during the summer months there too. Nobody's noticed this correlation. I don't know. Anyway. So anyway, it just talks about how okay, here's one though. This is the funny part. Let's go back. Let's stick to this AP article though, how they report it so much differently than the Daily Caller. So restaurant owners began confronting, okay, we already talked about that. Restaurant owners began confronting whether they too would relax COVID safeguards in their dining rooms that were already allowed to be almost fully open. What's the difference? School administrators scrambled to figure out the ramifications for the state's 5 million public school students. Local officials will have some ability to impose new rules if cases spike, Abbott said, but those powers would be limited. While we've made significant progress, I'd hate to have that go away, said Tinku Saini, the CEO of Tarka Indian Kitchen, which has locations across Texas. He said he would not allow customers to go maskless, but still require face covering, or he would now allow customers to go maskless, but still require face coverings for staff. You know, unless your entire staff is wearing N95 masks and knows how to probably wear them without fiddling with them, yeah, you're not gaining anything from those masks. But I digress. At Bob's Steak and Chop House in Dallas, founder Bob Samble welcomed the ability to make decisions for his own restaurant again, even though he has not decided what approach he'll take. I have a week, thank God, Samble said. Now, here's this is the part that I found humorous. Abbott grows a growing number of governors across the U.S. who are easing coronavirus restrictions. Like the rest of the country, Texas has seen a number of cases and deaths plunge. Hospitalizations are at lowest levels since October, and the 7-day rolling average of positive tests has dropped to about 7,600 cases, down from more than 10,000 in mid-February. Again, cases don't matter. I was a case. But again, whatever. Only California and New York have reported more COVID-19 deaths than Texas. Well, that's numerically. Let's remember, California, I believe, is also in the middle of the pack as far as deaths per million. Let's see, where's California here? I think they're even lower than. Yeah, they're down below here. They're 30th deaths per million. Okay, cases per million. California is 26, so they're down here. Cases per million. New York, on the other hand, cases per million. Let's see, cases per million. New York is, while they are, where the hell they're 31 cases per million, but deaths per million, they're number 2. Okay, so very different animals, California and New York, and also just the number of deaths is very different for those two states, as well as Texas. So I just got to say, of course, New York had that little nursing home problem anyway. Now, but then there's California Governor Gavin Newsom who's had some of the, now here's the other thing. California, Florida, Texas, all 3 states, lower than average deaths per million. In fact, they're in the lower half of the United States as far as below average, the United States for deaths per million. Now, Florida and Texas have had fairly relaxed standards, although Texas had the mask mandate still, even though it wasn't hardly enforced. Florida clearly has been open the most and has had much greater, I wouldn't say, success or whatever, keeping old people from dying. And California has, as far as cases per million, but California has had some of the strictest restrictions. Did I say strictest restrictions? Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. California Governor Gavin Newsom says it's absolutely reckless. He tweeted a response to Abbott's announcement. Texas is fully reopening just ahead of the spring break holiday, which health experts worry could lead to more spread. Now, I don't know if there was any evidence. Remember when, I think it was last year, I don't know if there's any evidence that people who went on spring break spread the coronavirus last year. Although there were a lot of restrictions last year, a lot of places that was during just as we were starting to get cases blow up, and then right after that we had the big 15 days to slow the spread, or during that time. And I don't know if there's any evidence of the Utes spreading coronavirus. But anyway, Abbott's rollbacks come just as the U.S. is picking up the pace of vaccinating people, with victory over the virus in sight. In Texas, 7.1% of its nearly 30 million residents have been fully vaccinated, according to the state data reported to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. The fact that things are heading in the right direction doesn't mean we have succeeded in eradicating the risk, says Dr. Lauren Ansel Myers, a professor of integrative biology and director of the University of Texas COVID-19 Modeling Consortium. That's It's quite a title and name of a group that Professor Myers is part of. She said that the recent deadly winter freeze in Texas that left millions of people without power, forcing families to shelter closely with others who still had heat, could amplify transmissions of the virus in the weeks ahead. Although it remains too early to tell, masks, she said, are one of the most effective strategies to curb the spread. I doubt it. There's no evidence of that. There's no evidence that masks have curbed the spread at all. Okay, there's none. In fact, when you take places that have had very strict mask mandates versus places that have very loose or no mask mandates, most of the data shows there's almost no difference, and in fact, the places that have without mask mandates have performed slightly better, which could just be a coincidence. But there's definitely no evidence that on this particular disease that masks have slowed the spread whatsoever. And I'm in a mask state where I have to wear a mask in most of the places I go that are not inside my own home. Although when you go to a restaurant, you have a mask, and then suddenly when your food comes, you can just take, as soon as you sit down at your table, you can take your mask off. And so what's the point of having the mask? Anyway, so, a top county leader in Houston, Harris County Judge Linda Hidalgo, said at best the reversal was wishful thinking. Wait. At worst, it's a cynical attempt to distract Texans from the failures of state oversight of our power grid, said Hidalgo, a Democrat. Shocker. Now, notice, the Houston contingent seems to be anti-Abbott. Dr. Joseph Varone, a chief medical officer at Houston's United Memorial Medical Center, said he called the hospital's top leaders immediately after Abbott's announcement and said they still need more staff and ventilators. Really? They need more ventilators? Why do they need more ventilators? Is there a shortage of ventilators in the country right now? I don't even think so. I think you can get ventilators pretty easy if you really... That's my understanding, because they haven't used half as many ventilators as they thought they were going to need. So what's the deal here? Anyway, he said, I'm just concerned that I'm going to have a tsunami of new cases, Varone said. I truly hope I'm wrong, but unfortunately, history seems to repeat itself. Well, no, if history repeats itself, then you should continue to see cases go down in these coming months, because the warm weather's coming to Texas this time of year. But we'll see. Early in the pandemic, Abbott stripped local officials of their power to implement tougher COVID-19 restrictions, but now says counties can impose mitigation strategies if virus hospitalizations exceed 15% of all hospital capacity in their region. However, Abbott forbade local officials from imposing penalties for not wearing a face covering. Retailers and other businesses will also be allowed to impose capacity limits and other restrictions on their own. Anyway, so let's see. He imposed the statewide mask mandate in July during a deadly summer surge, but enforcement was spotty at best, and some sheriffs refused to police restrictions at all. And as the pandemic dragged on, Abbott ruled out a return to tough COVID-19 rules, arguing lockdowns do not work. Okay? That's probably true. I'll leave the rest for, if you want to read the rest of it, it's there. But I do want to move on because I have a lot more. Plus, we have another state too. Texas's neighbor, Mississippi, has also are also going to allow business to return to normal. They're ending mask mandates, allow business to return to operating at full capacity starting tomorrow. Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves, a Republican, announced on Tuesday he was lifting the mask mandates in his state effective tomorrow, and that businesses in the state would be able to return to operating at full capacity. Let's see. They need more ventilators because they are building... They're building Rue Goldberg machines to cook breakfast rather than make TikTok videos now, and the ventilators are a key component. That's That's funny. Anyway, starting tomorrow, we are lifting all of our county mask mandates, and businesses will be able to turn to operate at full capacity without any state-imposed rules. Reeves said on Twitter, our hospitalizations and case numbers have plummeted, and the vaccine is being rapidly distributed. It is time. So, same in Mississippi, probably getting the same reactions. Twitter was all abuzz about this and talking about how stupid these Republican governors are, and they don't care about dying people, and they want to kill your grandma and your kids by sending them back to school. And you know what? Even though it's not FTG did all the moaners and whiners. By the way, I do have my cup of reparations in hand. If you have a beverage, let's all take a sip because my throat is getting dry. And, of course, coffee drives it out. I'm drinking coffee again. I can kind of taste it now. I'm slowly getting my taste buds back after this. After my little COVID bout in December. But my sense of smell and taste never came back. But I'm starting to. Oh, so here's one example of me getting my sense of smell back, and this is not a good thing because I don't think it. In fact, well, my sense of smell has not really come back because I can't smell things I normally should be able to smell. However, one of my dogs, while Lady Boomer and I were watching television the other night, was sitting down in front of me on the couch, and all of a sudden I am like, oh my God, what is that? And my wife's like, what is that smell? I can't smell it. I can smell that smell. And my wife's over there, she's like, oh, make that dog go outside. My dog farted and I could smell it. I mean, I could not really, but I could just smell how bad it was. I couldn't really smell it, but I knew it smelled bad, and I was like, oh my God. Anyway, I know that's exactly why you come to watch me, to find out about my dog farting. But anyway, good morning. Check your logic. What's up? How you doing? I hope I haven't missed anybody in the chat. I try to keep up with you guys. Also, we got up to 45 people. Remember, if you like what we do, hit the like button at some time. Share the stream. Please sponsor the show if you are able. That's always very helpful to me. And also, if you comment, if you're watching a replay, put a comment in the comment section. Although today, again, I want your opinions on the minimum wage in my comment section today, because I am going to make a video about that, and I may even use some of your comments from the comment section today. So if you have an opinion, the question was, I think that we should abolish the minimum wage. I'd like your opinion on that. Should they raise it? Should they leave it? Should they lower it? Should they abolish it altogether? Give me your opinion on the minimum wage. Also, good morning, Renee Mayette and Pincalo, man. What's up? I haven't seen you in the chat for a while. I know you every once in a while. You lurk every once in a while. Also, Pincalo, please have my friend BP, or if you have a link to her stream, if she's streaming today. I don't even know if she's streaming today. She's streaming on Wednesdays? I can't remember. But please feel free to drop a link to her stream for later today too. If you're not familiar with Blind Press sometimes streams right after me at 11 o'clock my time, so 12 o'clock Eastern time. Anyway, so yeah, dog fart saved me. Yeah, and now, it was so bad. It made me wonder though, if my house were on fire, would I be able to smell it? And I thought, well, if my dog farts, then I would be able to. I know I could smell that. Anyway, can we move on from talking about dog farts? All right, what else do I got here? I do have a couple more COVID. Wait a minute. Where's my other COVID thing? What happened to that Newsweek article? It was even worse. Is this it over here? Oh, this is here. Let me just show you if this is funny. We've been talking about for some reason, the big topic this week is cancel culture. And we lost Aunt Jemima, God rest her soul. Now it's Pearl Milling Company. We lost Uncle Ben. Oh, say a prayer for Uncle Ben. Well, I think we're losing another icon of American culinary ingenuity. I just saw this one. It's really bumming. Twitter socialists have been arguing for 25 an hour. I just really found out some of them genuinely believe 15 an hour should have been implemented in the 90s. You know, that would be even if you went by the minimum wage, and depending on what year. Monkey brought this stat to me, but I know it's true. Even if you were going by cost of living increases, minimum wage would probably be about $12 an hour right now. But if you think about it, like I said, as we were talking, if you weren't here earlier, we were discussing the fact that there aren't many places that pay $12 or the minimum wage, $7.25 an hour. And in fact, in AOC's own New York City, the average wage for a McDonald's cashier is $18.25 an hour. So depending on where you live, no one's paying that. Where I live, it's, they start at $12 or $13 an hour to work at McDonald's or at other fast food places around here, because you can't get labor at $7.25 an hour. Nobody wants to work a $7.25 an hour job, not even kids anymore. So labor, the cost of labor is depending on what people will, if they'll work for that much, period. Okay. And in places where the cost of living are high, places have to pay more to get people to work there, because they'll just go somewhere else and work. They'll go to Amazon, where you don't have to have any skills, and you get $15 an hour, pretty much nationwide. Same with a lot of the other shipping places, UPS, FedEx, whatnot. So anyway, all right. What was it? Oh, but back to my little cancel culture thing here. Again, we may be losing one more staple of of American culinary ingenuity. And that this one hurts. This one hurts because I grew up loving this product, and the name of the product is so descriptive and so it's so just appropriate. And because of cancel culture, because of diversity and inclusion, we're now losing the Manwich. They are changing the name of Manwich because the name Manwich is sexist. And so now we're going to have Hunt's gender-neutral meat sauce. Yeah, you knew the buildup was just a joke, right? Yes. No more Manwich. Okay. All right. We're going to move on here. So now, speaking of, it is Woke Wednesday, so I do have some stories that have to do with with the wokeness. And let's start in Colorado, where Colorado Democrat has moved to ban hate speech, and fake news on social media. Well, this is going to work out well. Of course, all they have to do is call the social media companies, and they have to, and they'll do it for them. You don't even have to make a law. But anyway, on Friday, Colorado Senate President pro tempore Carrie Donovan, who is also running to unseat U.S. Representative Lauren Boebert, filed SB 21-132, a bill to regulate digital communications. The bill would create two regulatory agencies to monitor big tech companies and penalize them for allowing a person to engage in unfair or discriminatory digital communications practices, including promoting hate speech, undermining election integrity, allowing the spread of fake news, and targeting for digital ads. I wonder if there's a problem creating a law like this. I'm just curious. Okay, fine. The bill does not define these hot button terms, of course, because you know what hate speech is. Hate speech is the speech that they hate. So there is to it. Anything they hate can be deemed hate speech. So there you go. Anyway, the big tech regulation seems ripe for abuse. Oh, really? Like the big tech companies aren't already abusing these very generic, what's the word? Amorphous, just ever changing goalpost terms. It would give cover for big tech to censor conservatives in the name of fighting hate and fake news. SB 21-132 would have created a digital communications division and a digital communications commission. A commission? Oh, they'll make a commission to determine what hate speech is. Tasking these bodies with registering every digital communication platform, including social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and media sharing platforms like YouTube and Twitch, and monitoring their activity to prevent discrimination. The division. Oh, real quick, thank you, Pincalo, for sponsoring the show from Canada, of course. Who says, and truth seems to be the number one hate speech. Oh, hell yeah, it is. Thank you very much, Pincalo, for the deuce via Canada. So they're going to try and monitor every digital platform and every communication. You know how many people that would take? How many hours? What's that? How many hours of YouTube video are uploaded a day? I mean, it's some ridiculous number. Like hundreds of thousands of hours of YouTube video are uploaded every day, or every hour, or something like that. I mean, it's an astronomical number. The division shall investigate, and the commission may hold hearings. Oh, they're going to hold hearings on claims alleging that one of these big tech companies has allowed a person to engage in. So they want to be able to sue the tech companies for allowing people. See, this is a power play, trying to get the tech companies to censor some of us who maybe might have some wrong opinions in their case. Or now here's the other part. So are they still going to allow for satire? You know, like the Onion or the Babylon Bee or some of these other outlets that do funny, do the funny thing, right? Are they gonna anyway, oh my gosh. Are they gonna fine them too? The division shall investigate the commission, hold hearings, blah, blah, blah. Unfair or discriminatory digital communication practices on a platform, such as 1, practices that promote hate speech. Again, define hate speech. Are you allowed to hate people in the United States, by the way? I think you are. I'm not big on hating people, but are you allowed to hate people? I don't know. Practices that undermine election integrity. Okay, let's define that. Define that. Undermining election integrity. There's always, how about a politician who has a brochure that lies? Like, let's say like Joe Biden had a commercial that said something about Donald Trump's calling those, all the people in Charlottesville, what was it? Fine people, very fine people. Is that undermining election integrity by lying about that? Did the very fine people lie? Practices that disseminate intentional disinformation, conspiracy theories. So should we ban CNN for spending so much time on the Russiagate scandal, on Donald Trump, Russia? That's disinformation, a conspiracy theory, right? And finally, are practices that authorize, encourage, or carry out violations of a user's privacy. So I suppose they're gonna dump people who dox people. Okay. Right. The bill also directs regulatory agencies to investigate businesses, political, or social practice that are conducted in a manner that a person aggrieved by the practices can demonstrate are unfair and discriminatory to the aggrieved person. It's not fair. It's not fair. Oh my God. These practices include targeting users for collecting and disseminating their data, profiling users based on their data, selling personal data to others in order to provide location-based advertising or targeted advertising, or using facial recognition software and other tracking technology. That's the only part that maybe is in the purview of a government. Anyway, some big tech data collection and targeting advertising can seem downright creepy, and legislatures arguably should protect citizens' privacy to some degree. Like me getting all the ads for chairs, because I don't have any ad for chairs. I get the Sweetwater ads too. They know that I buy technology online, so I get a lot of Sweetwater ads. But like the other time when I looked up a chair, a gamer chair on Amazon, and then all of a sudden all my pop-up ads were for chairs for like a cross-platform. In fact, even if I say the chair, ballot counters pulling ballots out from under tables and ballot harvesting. Yeah, can we report on that? Anyway, so let's see. Now, Colorado's regulatory agencies don't exactly have a stellar track record when it comes to preventing discrimination. Back in 2012, yeah, I remember. So anyway, back in 2012, a bake shop owner by the name of Jack Phillips refused to lend his artistic work to celebrate a same-sex wedding, citing his belief that a marriage between his one man and one woman. The Colorado Civil Rights Commission found him guilty of discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation, even though the same commission defended another baker's right to refuse to create cakes that stated a message with which she disagreed. Worse, the commission compared Phillips' actions to Nazi apologists, even though Phillips' own father fought the Nazis and liberated a concentration camp in World War II. Ultimately, the Supreme Court 7-2 ruled that Colorado had acted with clear and impermissible hostility towards Phillips' sincere religious beliefs. The court struck down a double standard, vindicated Phillips' right to free exercise of religion against a hostile government. Even after the Supreme Court defended Phillips, the commission hounded the baker yet again. This time, he had refused to make cakes celebrating a transgender lawyer's transgender identity and a cake celebrating Satan smoking marijuana. Marijuana. Did I just say that? Kind of mispronounced that. Workers at prominent big tech companies like Facebook and Twitter have documented leftist bias. In the 2018 midterm elections, Twitter employees gave 228,000 candidates, 98.7% of that to Democrats. Facebook employees gave another more than 1 million, 94% of that to Democrats. 2/3 of big tech company employees described their workplace's ideological and cultural norms as liberal or very liberal in a 2018 survey. Oh God. And then they're going to, and just talking about how they use the Southern Poverty Law Center. But I just think this is that bill. I don't know how they can enforce it. I don't know how under U.S. law, it states, even though it's a state law, I don't know how they'd ever be able to enforce that. In other COVID news, COVID death fraud. I have a hard article here about the COVID death fraud. I'm not going to read it, but I definitely suggest that you check this out if you happen to go through the tabs today. Check that article out. Thank you, Gunfox61, for sponsoring the show. Hey, Google mod team, mod this. Pedo Joe is not my president and is a preppy old bastard that smells and plays with kids. So the question, I guess, did anyone figure out what's going on with the chat? Is Cairo, are you still here? I don't think you never replied to me, and I'm wondering if you were having trouble. Okay, doesn't look like you're still here. So, and good morning, Evan S. Nice to see you. So is my chat being monitored by Google like more than normal today or something? There is no fraud, PDawgKnight. It's the most secure virus in history. Anyway, it's an article about how they've been counting the coronavirus death numbers, particularly when they give you most death certificates have there are 5 critical lines, each having its own contribution to the final conclusion. The first line is immediate cause of death, and then there are declining list of contributing causes. And for whatever reason, if COVID appears anywhere on that list, it's listed as a COVID death. So it's a very interesting article. It's from the American Thinker, and it'll be in the tabs. Let's see. Oh, but here's one more Woke Wednesday-ish. Here's an article that very much fits in with the theme. The United States, I fixed that. The United States Navy is eradicating extremism training, or the Navy's eradicating extremism training. Black Lives Matter is not a politically partisan in nature. Okay. The United States Navy released new mandated training on eradicating extremism, which claims that Black Lives Matter is not a political or extremist organization. According to a slew of declassified memos, the Department of Defense is requiring the Navy to host anti-extremist training following the Capitol riots and 2 incidents of internal problematic behavior. The training clarifies that the Navy prohibits any member of the naval services from participating in any organization advocating supremacist causes, advocating illegal discrimination, or advocating the use of force or violence against the U.S. government or state government. Okay. The training is called a stand down in internal memos and is required to be completed by April 6th. The seminar tells naval officers that offensive jokes are considered prohibited conduct, and as well as offensive objects or pictures. Other obscene behaviors include insults or put-downs and name-calling. Well, you know what? I'm sorry. I am never joining the Navy again. Oh, wait. I'm just never in the Navy. Gee, are you... Are you allowed to have... There's got to be something here. Anyway, in the social media portion of the training, naval officers were told they could not retweet or like any material that promotes discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, including gender identity, creed, ethnicity, national origin, or sexual orientation. Wow, are they going to follow your tweets now in the Navy? I mean, why they would want to do that anyway, I don't know, but this is creepy. In the Q&A portion of the training manual, commanding officers are given a list of possible questions that may arise. One question asked whether it was appropriate to discuss Black Lives Matter in the workplace. The training manual said it is appropriate because Black Lives Matter is not politically partisan in nature. That's interesting. A separate Q&A prompt asked whether it was okay to discuss conservative religious views on the forum maintained by a church. The answer said expressing religious views is okay, though actively preventing others from exercising their legal rights is not permissible. Well, that's fascinating. The training takes approximately 90 minutes and is broken down into 2 increments. The first increment is 30 minutes led by a commanding officer, and the second increment is a 60-minute small group breakout session. Newly appointed Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin penned a memo claiming that this training is the first of many trainings aimed at eliminating extremist ideology from the neighborhood. Yes, I'm sure there's just tons of extremist ideology. Oh my God. Oh, they can't quit, can they? Thank you, Pincalo, for sponsoring the show. Oh, by the way, did I, let's see. Oh, no. Okay. Thank you, Pincalo, who says, this is not the Navy I fought for. Yeah. They're so caught up on all this woke stuff now. It'll be interesting, and also the changing of standards. I don't think that's good. I think other countries that spend a lot of time on military stuff, that are about our, maybe not our strength but our size, are probably kind of laughing at us. I'm sure the Iranian military and the Chinese military and the Russian militaries look at this, see this stuff in our public forums and just go, These stupid Americans. Anyway, and the Navy is also encouraging officers to read books. And here's some of the ideas of their reading list, such as Ibram X. Kendi's How to Be an Anti-Racist, Michelle Alexander's The New Jim Crow, and We Can't Talk About That at Work, How to Talk About Race, Religion, and Politics and Other Polarizing Topics. Oh, so woke. So woke. Okay, let's move on. I'm trying to get through the rest of these as quickly as I can because I have a whole bunch of them, and I've kind of let this go. Anyway, Time's Up leader. Remember Time's Up? The they were all about sexual assault, right? Well, apparently one of the leaders of Time's Up, and that was in Hollywood, I believe, ignored sexual assault allegations against Star Doctor, lawsuit says. Dr. Esther Chu said reporting sexual harassment was never worth it. A leader of the Time's Up project to stamp out sexual harassment in the medical profession ignored a well-documented accusation of assault made against a popular doctor at her hospital, according to a new lawsuit. The lawsuit says Dr. Esther Chu, an Oregon doctor who is a founding member of the anti-sexual harassment advocacy group Time's Up Healthcare, took no action when notified of a string of assault allegations against Dr. Jason Campbell, who gained notoriety as the TikTok doc for viral hospital dance videos during the coronavirus pandemic. Oh, those videos were so cute. In a text message, including in the legal, In a text message included in the legal complaint, Chu told the unnamed complainant that it was never worth it to report sexual harassment. Well, how conveniently consistent if you're leading the Time's Up healthcare, if you're one of the founding members, that you're not going to report it. Anyway, the rest of that article tells you more details, but how convenient. Good God. Moving on. We talked the other day about how there's this huge increase in the number of people identifying as LGBTQ, particular. Well, not a huge increase, but a huge increase among Gen Z in particular. And so now because of that, thank you, Scotty Dubs. Sponsoring the show through YouTube Super Chat, who says all this woke stuff is starting to make me more racist. You know, funny you should mention that, because I gotta think that let me do an aside here, and I may not even get through all my articles, but you can read them if I don't. So I've been listening to this stuff probably since 2015, 2016, a lot of this woke stuff. Remember back in the days when it was the SJWs versus the anti-SJWs and all that stuff, and how this stuff was, well, it's not a big deal because it's never going to permeate our actual society. This stuff is just crazy. And then 5 years later, or 6 years later, we're looking at this going, oh my God, it's being implemented into every aspect of our life, right? And I gotta think, because, you know, one of the worst things that a person can be, at least in the United States common culture, one of the worst things you can be, or be accused of being, is a racist, right? And yet now we're at a point where woke culture is telling a certain segment of our society, which just happens to be the majority segment, that they are all racist. You are racist, you're an oppressor, you are just an awful, and again, that's the worst thing you can be in our society, right? So if you're telling a large portion of the population that they are the worst thing you can be in society, no matter what, do you think it's going to start pissing? Some people are going to take that that personally and just go, well, why even try? Why even try to get along with people? Why even try to not be a racist? Because I'm automatically a racist. So why try? Who cares? Then fine. If I'm going to be the racist, I'm going to be the best racist ever. Followed me here? And so that sentiment, it wouldn't shock me if you actually start seeing that trend, this morning I was watching Akatunde, I think, and he had a video talking about, how he documents pew pew endings in the United States. That's his kind of a lot of his thing, and how it's mostly of certain, the vast majority of them are people who look like us, me and him, not y'all. At least, well, some of you. I'm not sure what everyone else looks like, but he was talking about how all of a sudden the big push in media and is about the anti-Asian hate incidents, right? Anti-Asians being attacked here and there and whatever. And he's looking through all these incidents, and he's like, he could only most of these incidents look mostly just like muggings. First of all, a lot of them just people getting robbed, and he's saying that a lot of it's being done by us, right? But then I think, the narrative is that it was caused by Trump. And whenever you hear anti-someone else discrimination, you always assume they're talking about that one race, the ones that, the majority. But it's not. Almost every one of the incidents has been by a brother. And so, how many people are actually listening to Trump? But guess what? Doesn't matter. You still are blaming the majority. And eventually the majority is going to start noticing, you know what? We're not even doing that, but we're getting blamed for this. F this. F you. F society. And, I'm tired of you blaming us. I'm just saying. Thank you, Piccolo. Again, Gen Z is so weak they want to cancel Eminem. Yeah. or Dolly Parton, too. Eminem, Dolly Parton. A lot of people are getting caught up in this, although there was a big kind of pushback of people trying to cancel Dolly Parton. And the reason they want to cancel her, despite the fact that she spends her money, and she's very wealthy, but she spends her money on things to help people all the time. But they want to cancel her because she's too white, basically, and because she's in country music, and so there's the air of discrimination. Country music. I don't know. It's thank you, Scotty Dubs, and also thank you, Piccolo, for sponsoring the show today. Back to this thing about the huge increase in LGBT identification. So because it's so huge in one generation, where 4.5% in the previous update in 2000 compared to 3.5%. Who identifies LGBTQ, but in Gen Z, it's almost like 15-20%. Okay, 1 in 5, 1 in 6, or something like that. And so it's causing people to doubt the idea that this is something about being born this way versus being, especially with young girls who's the increase in the number of girls identifying as bisexual. Just is like 77% of those people who are identifying as LGBTQ are young girls identifying as bisexual. Hello, Sergeant Salter. Nice to see you. So According to the latest polling data, Gallup organization reports 5.6% of the U.S. adults are now identifying as LGBT, adding the current estimate is up from 4.5% in Gallup's previous update in 2017. The number is only 3.5% in 2012. Are a higher percentage of people gay than in years past? Given the growing political and moral significance of this topic in our culture, it's essential to all Americans. Ask what data like this truly means. To begin, it's essential in understanding being LGBT isn't the thing most people assume it is. Being LGBT is not a clinical sexual attraction, nor is it a medical or scientific term. No one is simultaneously a lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender person, much less all of the other letters that seem to be added every year. This designation is merely a socio-political mashup, a broad and imprecise term of political and ideological identity. This is demonstrated by the very fact that Gallup employed the term LGBT in its investigation rather than the ever-evolving longer strings of letters like LGBTQ or LGBTQIAA or the clumsy catch-all LGBTQ+. If being LGBT were really a thing and a meaningful, precise measure of what someone is, we could reasonably ask what Gallup's percentage would have been if they offered respondents additional lettered options. Would their numbers have been larger if they asked how many people were either Q or queer or in questioning, or included any of the other many letters? None of the many news stories on the report bothered to ask this important question. This shows the general media lazily accepts being LGBT is simply shorthand for being experimental. This designation is therefore clearly not an objective scientific thing, but merely a loose identity grouping rooted in politics and self-perception. For this reason, the new data doesn't truly tell much other than that people are becoming more elastic in how they view their sexuality and gender. Unfortunately, this doesn't reveal anything reliable about what people objectively are. That's because how people identify and what they actually do are different. So, research on how people behave sexually rather than just how they identify is well documented among scholars and famously complicated. Gallup report backs up this fact, showing that young adults today are more than 3 times likely to report being LGBT, than even Gen Xers are. Gen Xers are certainly not so traditional that they would be reticent to admit any alternative sexual practices to pollsters or their peers. It's simply becoming increasingly fashionable to be seen as sexually experimental today, evidenced in the fact that 55% of those who told Gallup they were LGBT said they were bisexual. Most of these are coupled with opposite-sex partners when they do have a romantic partner. And that's the one with, and it's young girls, where 77% of the teens who identify this are girls who identify as bisexual. And that's by far the largest group. Thank you, Gunfox61. Oh, let me let that music go by. All right, thank you, Gunfox61 and Gunfox61.
You are the new Streamlabs Superstar Donor of the Day.
He says, "Hey, if people are so weak-willed that they cannot take it, I will take it as my job to break them so much that their little worthless minds break into nothing more than a jam. break their wills. Also, U.S. births have dropped again, and marriages as well." Yeah, that's not a good stat. Thank you, Gunfox61. I appreciate that. Also, thank you, Pincalo, who says, everything after the T is a mental disorder. Hopefully the YouTube automatic mind reader word reader doesn't understand what that was in context to. Thank you again, Piccolo. Thank you, Gunfox61, for you guys sponsoring the show. Anyway, so this article goes on just basically talking about how this makes it seem that maybe not everything in this this amalgam of letters that continue to grow with every new little curiosity has anything to do with being born that way. And maybe just because of the fact that society makes it cool and society makes you special if you're one of these things, and now you can join a group of oppressed people. Maybe people are choosing some of these new titles and applicable letters in the alphabet that do whatever they do. All right, moving on. Oh, and then apparently, we were talking about Dr. Seuss yesterday. How some of the Dr. Seuss books are no longer being published. Well, according to Washington Post correspondent Philip Bump, he strongly backed the move to stop the publishing of 6 Dr. Seuss books in a column published Tuesday, arguing that the scrubbing of the books has nothing to do with cancel culture. Oh, he's so woke. And if you think it does, that's because your culture is the problem. Yeah, your culture sucks, is what he thinks. If curtailing racist imagery in Dr. Seuss is cancel culture, what exactly is your culture? Questioned Bump. Look, man, if you think obviously racist imagery is an essential element of your own culture, that says more about you than about Dr. Seuss. Well, that's because Dr. Seuss Enterprises announced yesterday that they will stop selling 6 titles citing racist and insensitive imagery. The announcement came on the heels of an anti-Dr. Seuss campaign in Virginia and President Joe Biden's pointed decision to leave out the prominent American author in his presidential proclamation for Read Across America Day, which is celebrated on Dr. Seuss's birthday. Bump argued that Dr. Seuss can't be canceled because he's already dead, adding that the vast majority of his books are still in circulation anyway. Well, that's true. They probably are going to get rid of all of them until they realize that The Cat in the Hat is a allegory on the stealing type of a black man that they... Never mind, I can't even finish the joke. Thank you, Black Hebrew Israelite.
That's right.
Who says, I identify as masculine presenting transgender lesbian. Okay. You be you, brother.
That's right.
Thank you for sponsoring the show today, Black Hebrew Israelite. All right. I'm running out of time here, so I'm going to finish. You can read about Philip Bump's jackhole. I wanted to get this critical race fragility, but I'm going to skip this one more. The left has denounced the war on woke, but it is afraid to defend the principles of critical race theory in public debate. They don't want to talk about critical race theory, but we'll get to that one tomorrow. I'm going to just leave that but I'll have it in the tabs today. Also, apparently, Seth John has been removed. This is another woke one. Thank you, Piccolo, by the way. I'll give them 3 of the books. Well, they're dumping 6, and I think I have 5 of the 6 because we used to be subscribed to the Dr. Seuss Book of the Month Club when our kids were little, and my kids love those books. Those are the greatest books for teaching kids to read because they still have to sound out nonsense words. It's just fun, and it's fun for them to have the weird words and all that. I just feel bad for that. But, I don't know. The one in the If I Ran the Zoo, I think that's the one that has the almost World War II imagery of an Asian person. So, I kind of get it. And Dr. Seuss did have some of his earlier stuff did have some weird, they completely... Again, it's time period. Can you have the book and try to explain this to your kids that this is not great imagery? I don't know. Marsupial Gamer, I didn't even see you come in here. Hi there. Everything after the B is a mental disorder. Oh, LGBTQ. Okay. I had to figure out what the order of those letters was. All right, and good morning, Katie the Skate. All right, real quick, this guy. So this guy has been removed from the U.S. Soccer Federation for defending the national anthem. Seth John removed. Seth John, a Paralympian soccer player, 11-year military veteran and dissident, was kicked off the U.S. Soccer Federation Athlete Council for speaking out against the organization repealing their policy against kneeling during the national anthem. Oh, wait a minute. He got kicked out for speaking out against the organization. Oh, yeah. Against their, because they, now the U.S. Soccer Federation, they had a policy against kneeling during the national anthem, and they've repealed that policy now. And so he spoke out against that. Jan, who played for the U.S. 7-a-side team at the 2015 Pan American Games, gave the speech before the organization's board's vote on Saturday. So they kicked him out because he was against something? You can't even debate this? He said, I'm sure I'm going to ruffle some feathers with what I'm about to say, especially given the athletes' council that I'm on. But given the evolution of our quote-unquote progressive culture where everything offends everybody, those willing to take a knee for our anthem don't care about defending half our country. And when they do so, then I don't have too much concern in also exercising my First Amendment right, he said Saturday. We're here to get a different perspective. I also feel compelled to articulate that I'm of mixed race and representative undoubtedly the most persecuted people in our country's history, Native Americans. Jan argued that 95% of deaths in black communities come at the hands of another black man. Well, true. That's true of other communities, but the rate of murders is what I'm more concerned about. Of course, but a lot of people don't want to talk about that. I keep hearing how our country was founded on the backs of slaves, even though approximately only 8% of the entire population even owned slaves. He said every race in the history of mankind has been enslaved by another demographic at one point some time. Blacks have been enslaved, Hispanics have been enslaved, Asians most recently in our country in the freaking 20th century have been enslaved. Natives have been enslaved. Whites have been enslaved. Shoot, I lived in Africa for 2.5 years where I could purchase people, slaves, between the price of $300 and $800 per person per head, depending on their age, health, and physicality. Where were the social justice warriors and on the news journalists there to bring their ruminations to all these real atrocities, he added. And yet, in all of history, only one country has fought to abolish slavery, the United States of America, where nearly 400,000 men died to fight for the abolishment of slavery underneath the same star and bars that our athletes take a knee for. Their sacrifice is tainted with every knee that touches the ground. Oh, my. Let's talk about, now that's a whole different kind of woke right there. Following the speech, the Athletes Council said it had removed John because he violated the prohibited conduct policy section on harassment, which prohibits racial and other harassment based on a person's protected status, race, including any verbal act in which race is used or implied in a manner which would make a reasonable person uncomfortable. You can't allow, oh my God, we wouldn't want you to be uncomfortable ever. The Athletes Council does not tolerate this type of language and finds it incompatible with membership on the council. While the council understands that each person has a right to his or her own opinions. Oh, that's offensive, okay? You're only talking about two genders, council. You're offensive. You should be removed from your council. There are certain opinions that go beyond the realm of what is appropriate or acceptable. But Jan didn't back down. Hours after he was removed, Jan reiterated his stance in a statement and urged that his words were not a reflection on U.S. soccer or the U.S. extended teams. I will never this guy's based. I will never apologize for the statements I made, and I will never bow down to the mob mentality of intimidation, bullying, or the social media war Gestapo tactics. I'm embarrassed to represent a hypocritical federation that conducts a complete assault on diversity of thought without even seeking clarifying statements from me or in their smear campaign. I'm embarrassed at the cowardice of the so-called friends who bent over to the mob, knowing very well the quality of my character in order to preserve their own image. John wrote. Dude. He even received death threats for simply defending the national anthem. The overwhelming support I received from a number of people within the Federation compared to the 30-plus death threats I received from the insignificant rabid keyboard warriors was appreciated, but I implore you to speak publicly in your support in the future for those bold enough to challenge the status quo and not just privately, he said. Before playing as a forward on the 7-a-side team, Jan served in the U.S. Army. He was deployed in Afghanistan three times and was injured in 2010. Fox News reports he started training with the U.S. Paralympics national soccer team in 2014 and competed for Team SOCOM in the 2013 Warriors games and competed for Team USA in the 2016 Paralympics. Good for this guy, man. So give that man a hand. And on that note, I'm going to call it a day. The other headlines left were TCM, Turner Classic Movie reframed defend classic movie from the woke mob. Just new series to put problematic films in context before cancel culture claims them. Just going back on some movies there. Also, another article that's available in my tabs. Oh, this is the Los Angeles Times talking about apparently in the original Coming to America, the studio, this is back in the 80s, it was an all-black cast in Coming to America, and the studio demanded that they have at least one white cast member. That's how Louis Anderson got into the movie, which that would never happen now. Now they would be mad that you had a white cast member, so that's a whole new thing. But there's a whole Los Angeles Times article about why Louis Anderson was in Coming to America. And then, let's see, I don't need to... Oh, no, here, let me restore that tab. We want to make sure Brian Stelter's potato head is still there. Let's see. Open a new tab. There we go. All right, we already had Brian Stelter's potato head. All right, that's it for today, folks. It is time for me to go. I greatly appreciate you hanging out this long. Hopefully, if you've already hit the like button, but if you haven't, please go ahead and do that. And especially if you like what we do. Also, make sure please share the stream. We got to do that still. And if in the comment section, remember the task today, I want to talk about the minimum wage, and my supposition is that we should abolish a national minimum wage. I'd love to hear your opinions on minimum wage in the comment section, so come back after the stream goes unlive, I suppose that's a word, and let me know what you think about that. And then also I will have the tabs for all the links to all the articles that we went through today in the description down below in just about 2 minutes. So thanks everybody. As soon as the outro ends, I'll have those in the description down below. Thank you, Pincalo, one more time, sponsoring the show with more Canadian money. Who says, do you think they'll go after the African Queen? Oh, they're going to go after all these old movies. They've already been. They're going after everyone and talking about how racist it was. And you know what? I'm one of those people who can talk about how things are in context for the time they were made and who was making the movies and whatnot, and still learn to appreciate movies despite some of the things that might be problematic. But apparently kids today can't handle that, and it just is what it is. So anyway, all right, gang, I gotta go. Like I said, tell me your thoughts about the minimum wage in the comment section. Check out the links for all the articles that will be in the description down below immediately after the intro, and also they'll be on the Discord server. And Gunfox, I will be checking out the articles and stuff you sent me today, and we'll go through some of that tomorrow. So anyway, that's it, people. I gotta go. My name is PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here. Bye. Hey, this is PDawgKnight, and thank you for watching today on the PDawgKnight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterward so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all supporters of this channel who share share our videos on social media, and who make donations through the Streamlabs link, which is also in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here.